So for this very first inaugural feature interview, we are with
hmm
Mike Riddle, the founder and the owner and the CEO of Mike Riddle Construction. And today's topic is about humility and confidence, primarily because when I think of those two words, Mike is the face that comes first to mind. He embodies both of these things incredibly well. So, Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot a little. What do those words mean to you? Start with humility. What does that mean to you?
Hmm. Humility to me is not being, um, the shiniest penny in the room, but being somebody who is constantly observing and absorbing whatever it is that's going on around them. Even if they're in a leadership position, maybe they might even be the speaker at some event. But to me, humility is not just an outward emotion or a face that you put on, but it's actually something that exudes from within and is portrayed on your facial expressions, your body language, the way that you carry yourself. And um, it's interesting because the dichotomy between humility and confidence is a very very um, complicated dance, if you will.
Great.
um, tr- Trying to be humble and not boast about what you are doing, even if that is it, like, let's say, a righteous boasting about what you're doing. It could be a work with students, or it could be a work with a charity, or it could be something you've done with your family, or whatever it might be. I think
Which
of
you do all
humility
of
as
those
more of
things.
yeah.
You
Well,
do.
I think I thank you, Marjorie. I think of humility as more as something that somebody says to you, like you show a lot of humility, and that's when I hear that, it means that what I'm doing or how I'm responding to certain comments, um, that makes people think that I'm humble. But to me, humility, or being humble, is something that I work on inside, and something that I try to really have my thoughts lead my actions, not just fake it, if that makes sense.
So true. When you were describing humility too, a lot of what was coming to my mind is emotional intelligence,
Mm,
right? The ability that even controlling your facial expressions, right?
hmm
The self-awareness and self-mastery, the situational awareness and situational mastery to to do all those things. I heard this great quote: confidence without humility is arrogance.
mm,
Humility without confidence is weakness.
mm.
Not sure if you'd agree with that or not, but either speak to that, or also, how would you describe confidence, since we've tied those two together?
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that statement. I mean, of course, it's just a statement, so it doesn't apply to every person, every situation. But um, I think confidence is very easily intertwined with humility, because to me, confidence is the ability to admit when you don't necessarily know the answer, but you're wanting to explore what the answer might be, whether it's with a team or another person, or going on an adventure to discover something together. But humility to me is um, being willing to be wrong, being willing to explore, and then also being willing to not be the smartest person in the room, or not be the person who has to answer every question. And sometimes I struggle with that, especially if I'm in a position where I know a lot of the answer. It's like, pick me, pick me, pick me.
Right.
Um, and being able to be confident enough to be quiet and to just observe and absorb what's going on. And then, if called upon, or if given the opportunity to make a comment or ask a question, um, that there's that calmness, um, that comes from being humble and being confident at the same time.
Absolutely. Now, real quick, remind me how long you've had Mike Riddle Construction. How long has that been your business?
So I've been in business for see, over 20 years, 22 years. The Micro Construction name has been probably 13 or 14 years.
13
So
or 14.
um, yeah, it's
And
been quite a long time.
have you been leading a team since day one? I mean, I'm assuming you have to be, right? Even if you're solo, you have subs that you're leading and all that, but
Yeah. I mean, it started off solo, so I was kind of did everything. I still have PTSD of the QuickBooks thing. When you enter something, you click the enter, and then it was a bloop sound.
I just have
Anytime I
PTSD
ever
of anything QuickBooks. So
Yeah, anytime I hear that sound, it's like, oh, I remember that. But obviously, yes, a big team of sub suppliers, and then as I've grown throughout the years, I've been able to buy back some of my time and have been able to delegate some responsibilities to team members, which allows
of
the
which,
company to grow and flourish.
and you have how many team members now?
12, 13, including me.
Right, that's quite a few. Uh, what do you think has helped you become a more humble leader over the years? Or just in general, what has helped you lead from a position of humility? What
Yeah,
experiences or what challenges?
Yeah, I think those last two words that you've said are really um, two big examples. I mean, just experience, just having gone through certain situations, having struggled and failed, and learned lessons, if you will. When you've been there, done that, if you will, there's a lot more confidence and humility that allows you to go into a situation um, to where you're demonstrating either mastery or expertise or knowledge, and there's a calmness that comes about having that experience, um, that I don't know, they're all intertwined. It's so hard to kind of separate them out because they all kind of connect to each other.
Well, I think it's fair to say over your 20-year career history, you have had some low lows along the way. Is that
For
fair?
sure. Yeah.
Any particular scenarios stand out as things you look back on that even though they sucked in the moment, they gave you some of the best non-monetary lessons. They gave you some of the best
Yeah.
lessons that a $100,000 degree couldn't buy, or
Yeah.
an extra certification could never teach.
Sure. Yeah. I can certainly give you a pretty all encompassing example. So in the construction industry back in 2007, 8 area, or era, I should say, the economy just essentially crashed in our world, and I couldn't build a doghouse for anybody, even if I wanted to. Um, had quite a few other instances. Had a client really upset, and decided that they wanted to kind of take me to the cleaners, if you will, and everything just kind of happened at one time, and ended up needing to in order to protect myself from them, filed for bankruptcy. And I had my home, and I had two rental houses, and I had to surrender all of those. And um, the bankruptcy court let me keep my clothes, and we had to pay for our cars. Um, and it essentially just brought me down to the bottom in terms of where I was in the construction world. And I was just so fortunate enough to be able to work with another group of people, um, doing stuff for banks. So I would mow lawns and take rotten food out of the refrigerators and scoop poop out of toilets. And I mean, whatever it took to feed my family for 4 years, I drove like a 1984 blue Papa Smurf pickup truck that had no air conditioning and no no manual, or no
Dave Ramsey would
automatic
be
anything.
proud.
Yeah, and because it was all I could afford,
Yeah.
and it really made me humble and thankful for what I had, and the opportunities um, that I had before, and be able to feed my family. But then it taught me how to be a better husband, a better friend, a better dad, and a better business owner, how to really focus on what's important and surround yourself with good people and surround yourself with good processes and procedures and safeguards in
Mhm.
place. And um, you know, it'd be really easy for me to say, yeah, I did it, but it wasn't me. It was my faith, and it was
Yeah.
God bringing me through all of that to show me something better. Because I just don't believe that I would have been able to achieve what I have now without having that experience. I just wouldn't have been able
Yeah.
to rise to the occasion without having that stress and challenge to be able to move up to the kind of the next level emotionally and spiritually and financially. And of course, having people along the way like coaching me along the way to keep what's the most important, and being able to strategize how to continue to improve. So,
Would you say, and I only actually recently heard some of the depths of that story. Obviously, I knew your background. We've been working together like 10 years. Can you believe that?
I know it's a
Like
long
10 years.
time.
It's a long time. I've known
Sister
you
from another mister.
longer than yeah, right? Longer than one of my kids. Um,
Sure.
yeah, you walked with me through a lot of the challenges with our son
Hmm.
York and the scary times.
Hmm.
Would you say though that he, both humility and confidence are really born or maybe exacerbated through those tough times? Humility in the sense that, like you said, it, brings you to your knees. I mean, I remember
Hmm.
a few times in our life that it was like I was hanging on, with my faith and a little bit of duct
Hmm.
tape and, a
Hmm.
little bit of shoestring here. So
Hmm.
humility, like really being brought to your knees, but then also the confidence of when you come through those things, when you take action in spite of those things, it
Hmm.
really does give you the confidence to face future challenges.
Hmm.
Have you seen that in your life as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of it, or the part that I focus on most, is really with my faith. I just know
Mhm.
that I know that I know that He will never leave me or forsake me. And
Mhm.
it was a time that I was at my lowest. Um, and everybody goes through those kinds of situations. And now, while I hope I never have to do that thing again, I know that
Right?
if I do, or something like that, I
Yeah.
just know that I will come out the other side being better for it. It's gonna suck. It's not gonna be fun, but frankly, as I get older, and um, most everything in my life that has true meaning and deep connection to everything that I deem important has come with struggle. Relationships, with your spouse is not
Mm.
easy. With your kids, with your work, with other people, just people in general are very challenging. So anything that really matters takes a lot of struggle and a lot of work. And I think that confidence really came through that humbling time. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, even though during it
Right.
was not fun.
So I love that actually. I'm gonna probably rip this quote off from you. But anything that matters comes with struggle. I think that is the takeaway. And if we can remember that in the struggle, it can actually be our little lighthouse
Hmm.
that there is something that matters coming out of this. I've heard it also said, your biggest test is your biggest testimony.
Mm.
That it allows you to help others, serve others by having gone through something. Even a really great book, The Comfort Crisis. I don't know if you've heard of that one by Michael Easter,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
he takes people on, or he goes on these, Alaska wilderness, 30 days, only eat what you kill kind of a
Hmm.
situation. Not for me, I will say that. But he
Hmm.
talks about the psychology behind it for him was because, we've gotten so comfortable. We collectively in, 2024 have gotten so we go to the grocery store and buy our food. We turn our thermostats to 72 or 68 or whatever. We don't really have
Hmm.
to when we hop in our cars, we are largely comfortable in the United States, even if we're mad about inflation and those kinds of things.
Hmm.
And so the ability
Sure.
to have the confidence through tough times. In addition to your faith, because obviously that's a huge anchor for you, and in addition to getting confidence through coming out of some of those dark seasons in 2008, 9, what has helped you become a confident leader and businessman? And let me preface this. For anyone who doesn't know Mike, he builds some of the most gorgeous. I mean, you've had some of your homes in, some publications and certainly on the Street of Dreams and different things like that. I mean, these are gorgeous, stunning custom houses on the Oregon coast. What has helped you become that confident builder and leader and uh, business owner and wear all those hats and do so well?
Yeah, I think to be frank, it's really just a great team. It's a great team behind me. I mean, certainly I provide leadership, and I have obtained, or have uh, had leaders above me pour into me. I've had people like you pour into me, and so then I'm able to pour into that team, and we're able to essentially execute what we can promise. Not
Mm,
perfectly, of course, but we are not big hat, no cattle, right? We come in and
right.
say, yeah, we can build you that, or yeah, we can do this. But then when it comes to the execution time, we fall short, and we still fall short. But please hear me that we're certainly not perfect. But I
No,
think
thank you.
having a really good team behind me allows me to do what I do best. So I'm not doing the bookkeeping. I'm not pushing the QuickBooks buttons. I'm not out in the field swinging the hammer. I'm able to focus on what I do best, and I've been able to surround myself with teammates who uh, are able to do what they do best, and I can support them and teach them how to do things the way we do, but then give them a lot of autonomy to do it their way as well, which a lot of the times turns out
Yeah,
to be more effective and more beautiful and fun and successful than I could have taught them.
love that. You referenced one of your most harrowing business seasons. What would you say now is one of your most proudest business accomplishments?
Hmm. You said you weren't going to put me on the spot. That's a
I
spot.
know.
Um, you know, I, to me, I think it's really easy to be able to point to things like, you know, winning lots of awards on the Street of Dreams or being interviewed for the news or things like that. But, honestly, it's having the ability and having the time to be able to pour back into, uh, you know, other people or other groups. So a couple of things. I work with some high school students in a program in the Salem Kaiser School District, and we're part of a nonprofit. And I happen to be the president, but I'm just one of the people on the team that really provides great opportunities for these kids. And even last night, we had a kind of an award ceremony for the design of next year's house, because every year we build a house with these kids. Um, and just to see the growth in these young adults and their the sparkle in their eyes and the passion, their excitement, and their gratefulness for what they've learned, and that's the kind of stuff that to me is a bigger accomplishment than having a really cool house in a magazine or be on TV or get all these awards or accolades. Those are wonderful, and I of course I appreciate them, um, but that's not why I do it, and it's not my why. My why is to be able to give back and to be the best, like I don't know, the best vessel that I could be while I'm here on this earth.
I love that. I love it. And in typical humble fashion, you don't even really brag on yourself. So I'm so grateful that we get to kind of talk about these things that you do and these projects that you do because you're just silently plugging away, serving the community, and helping people, pouring into other people. Um, Question about do you remember getting into coaching or why you got into coaching in the beginning?
Yeah, I think you gave a short presentation at a board meeting for the Home Builders Association that I was a part of. I was at our old location, and you came in, and I was just like, man, I really need that. And I don't know, you said, hey, give me a call, and the first one's free or something like that. And I'm like, well, I like that. And so we did, and we just kind of hit it off. And you sort of gave me a snapshot of what a roadmap might look like. And I was like, let's do this. And that, like, my memory's terrible. So it
10
sounds like it's
years,
been
10
almost 10
years
years
later,
ago. Yeah.
what would you say to people, to leaders contemplating coaching at this season, or contemplating investing in themselves, or contemplating investing in their business?
For me, I feel as though the most important thing is, as a leader, you have to know what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, and then you have to be able to surround yourself with people who can make up in those areas or help you to improve for yourself, or identify other teammates. And so, one of the things that you helped me with, um, that I think was critical, is to really know my why as a business owner, core values, mission statements. So you provide that not only the coaching but the accountability of creating those types of I don't know, pieces of work, I guess, if you will. But we have, posters made of the things that we've talked about, our core values and our mission statement, and we talk about it at our morning meetings. And it's really being grounded, and having somebody to be able to look into our business without all the emotion, without all the stresses of being able to make payroll or whatever. And you're giving somebody um, access into your world, that can be as objective as possible and really see what is the most important. Obviously, listening to what the needs are, but then being able to dig a little bit further and say, well, Mike, is that the problem, or is this really the problem? And that's when somebody like me can go, oh, you're right, that is the problem. Okay, let's work on that.
Yeah.
But if you're so wrapped up with other things, um, it's really hard to do that. So that's why I think coaches are so important, because they can have that objectivity that somebody a little closer to me couldn't have.
Well, I've loved working with you because you're such an implementer. You've been steadily, some people might have these ebbs and flows, and there's nothing wrong, right? There's nothing wrong. Everybody's
Mhm.
coming at this from a different set of strengths, but you've just been steadily just chipping away, thinking of the vision, not being rattled by setbacks, uh, working with your team. And what I see, when every time, you're working on, something, because all businesses will have, issues that crop up, challenges that crop up. You are always asking the question, how can I get better? And that is
Mm.
why, you were the first person truly that came to mind when I was thinking of this balance between humility and confidence. And I truly believe that uh, the best leaders, you can't have one without the other, right? Like the quote says,
Mm.
you can be overly humble, and it really starts to become maybe a self-deprecating weakness, and you can be overly confident and it really turns into, arrogance and pride.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when you combine the two, that is the essence of a growth-minded leader. And I'm so excited to be some teeny tiny part of your
Mm.
team. Thanks for letting me feature you, and invite all of you to the Leadership Lab Mastermind with all the details to follow. You can register, and we'd love to have you. It is going to be a place for tools and strategies and ideas, and really where iron sharpens iron. So, where strong leaders can come because they want to become stronger. So, thank you, Mike. Mike Riddle,
Thank you, Marjorie.
Construction, the best builder on the Oregon coast and beyond.
Thank
He
you. I
wouldn't say that,
appreciate
but
that.
it's absolutely true. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Marjorie. It was an honor.
Heck yeah.